Hey everybody, Brian and Rachel Goulet here together for another video to introduce yet another seasonal Edison Nouveau Premiere. This is the 10th one that we've ever done, and this is for the spring of 2016, and it has been highly anticipated. So here's the big reveal. It is
Water Lily. Now this is the name we came up with this color. It's a nice aqua blue. Is aqua the right color? I guess aqua?
Sure, turquoise, aqua.
With pink swirls. So it kind of reminds me of Water Lily Spring. So yes. A little backstory with this material. We had this done as a prototype for last spring. We chose the lilac instead of the purple because I thought it was too similar to the Caribbean Sea and the cherry blossom we'd done the year prior. So I wanted to mix up the color palette. But I've had this pen in my pen case for the last year. I've just been waiting for the opportunity to do it. And then, funny story with this too, so we're talking back and forth with Brian Gray at Edison Pen about this material, how well it would do, and I was like, Brian, this is going to be a slam dunk. He's like, I don't know, it's kind of wild. So he made a couple for the DC Pen Show last year, and they were the first to fly off the table. And one of the customers who purchased one affectionately nicknamed it Unicorn Barf. So this is also called the Unicorn Barf pen. But
that name really caught on too. So a lot of you, especially on Periscope and Slack and things like that, have been guessing what this pen was going to be. And in fact, if you watch the, I don't know if we have it still recorded, but for those of you who were watching Periscope when we were at DC last year, you had this in your pen case. And we just kind of glossed over it, didn't make a big stink about it, but it was a tiny, tiny teaser.
I've teased it before. So we're not calling it Unicorn Barf because I can't call something barf on our website.
Well, if you look at hashtags and stuff like that, you get a lot of weird stuff there. So we're like, we can't call that the official name, but that is what a lot of people call it.
So Water Lily is what we're calling the spring premiere. So let's talk about the premiere.
Yeah. So for those of you who are not aware of the premiere at this point, it's been a pen that we've had for 5 years now. The seasonal thing started up, I guess, about 2.5 years ago. Yep. So this is the 10th one we've done. And the way that it works is we produce this pen with Brian Gray. He makes them for about 3 months at a time, and then he stops making them. So kind of whatever sells in that period, that's how long they're out, and then we move on to the next season. So this one will be available from about, as of the launch of this video here, at gouletpens.com, and we'll have it for about 3 months. So until about mid to late June of 2016.
Whenever we switch over to summer.
And then after that, it's gone. So you got to get it while they're hot. So
it's cartridge converter pen.
Yeah, it's a cartridge converter pen. It takes standard international short cartridges, and it comes with standard international converter. It's also eyedropper convertible, so you just throw a little silicone grease on the threads. And the nice thing about this material, it's slightly translucent. So if you are looking at it, especially if you hold it up to the light, you can see, even with the converter, you can see the ink kind of sloshing around a little bit. But if you're eyedropper converting it, then you can definitely see when you need ink in there. Now, because it is a little translucent like that, that means that you're going to be able to see that the grip is a little bit darker because the material's somewhat thinner there. You can see the black nib unit that's in there. Also, when you have it inked up, there might be a little ink that kind of gets in between the grip and the nib unit. Sometimes people think that's wrong. It's just kind of how it is with these more translucent materials.
Nib size options. It's a steel nib. It's all silver. We chose a silver clip to match as well. We thought it matched the material.
Yeah, it's silver color. It's actually rhodium plated, which doesn't really mean anything.
Oh, the clip.
Yeah.
The nib is stainless steel, polished steel. Extra fine, fine, medium, broad, 1.1 and 1.5 stubs. You can also upgrade to a rhodium plated 18 karat gold nib in extra fine, fine, medium, broad.
That's right. And you can get swappable nib units for these as well for $25. So if you get the pen in one nib, or if you have other premieres and you want to swap them out, it's really easy to just unscrew and change them out.
Let's talk about matching inks.
Yes, a lot of people like to match inks to their pens. We do the same thing.
Oh, yes.
One that you've been using a lot is Diamine Soft Mint.
Yes, I've had and Soft Mint's an interesting color. If you use it in finer nibs, it's going to be pretty pale. People are like, what's the big deal? I had a 1.5 on this in the last year, and that color just really pops with a broader nib. Yeah. So I really like the Soft Mint. It's a little on the green side, but I thought it matched it pretty well. And one of my favorite turquoises is Diamine Marine. Also has a little bit of green to it, but it's kind of a bolder ink than Soft Mint. I like it. I think it matches well enough. It'll complement it.
There's a lot of good kind of turquoises that'll match here. Most of them lean kind of green or might be a little bit darker, but they'll be close enough for you.
On the lighter side of the aqua, you could go with J.Herbin Diablo Menthe. It's like a minty. It's kind of on the green side, but I think it's a nice match looking at our swap shop.
That one's going to be a lesser saturated ink, but
or you could go
smooth inks.
on the pink side.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about this pen. You have a lot of options if you want to match. I mean, you could also not match, and then you'd have infinite options.
Right.
But on the pink side, I like Iroshizuku inks. So Kosumosu is that light pink ink. I think that would go really well. If you want a darker pink, Sutsuji, which is one of my favorite inks, is a really good match as well.
Yes. And then last one I picked was Diamine Hope Pink, which I think matches pretty well. It's a little bit bolder pink.
It's a bright pink.
So it matches more of the kind of darker, bolder elements of the pen, but it's a good match too.
So price point on the Premiere is the same as all the other Premieres, $149, with the optional upgrade for the gold nib if you wanted to do that.
Yes.
So available starting now, spring, gouletpens.com.
That's right. So check them out at gouletpens.com. You can get more detailed information about specifications. You can see other pictures and compare them to other pens. You can look at the nib nook to see writing samples, choose the right size of your nib, and all that good stuff. If you got any questions, you can always leave comments on YouTube or on the blog. We're happy to answer them for you. We'd love to hear what you think. So subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching, and right on.